by many people actually, to be a safe alternative to smoking. We touched on this with last night's talker, but a lot of city leaders in Daphne have some problems with it, and they're considering an ordinance to ban vaping in public buildings and parks.
Tonight, a committee met in Daphne to take a closer look at that ordinance and to possibly make some changes. Fox 10 News reporter Katie Weiss attended that meeting. She's joining us live at Daphne City Hall with the details.
And so, Katie, some people from the e-cigarette industry were at this meeting, right?
Yes, that's right. A few people actually from the e-cigarette industry, manufacturers and shop owners, showed up tonight to give some advice to the ordinance committee a little bit about the difference between an e-cigarette and a regular tobacco cigarette. So that way they wouldn't be treated the same in this ordinance as it's being rewritten. Now, it seemed as though the ordinance committee here at Daphne City Hall took that advice to heart, and looks like they're going to be rewriting the law. Take a look.
I believe that banning something and labeling it with smoking is just, it's not the way to go.
These men in the e-cigarette industry showed up tonight to give their input on the rewriting of the cigarette ban in the city of Daphne. The city of Daphne has been looking to restrict the use of e-cigarettes, or vaping as it's called, after receiving a number of complaints from residents.
I think people that aren't aware of what it is or what it isn't, there is just a little fear. So I think the public has not been educated on the pros and cons, and I'm not sure we know all the science yet, but we feel like it's probably appropriate and somewhat measured to do what we're looking at.
Originally, the city of Daphne was going to equate vaping with tobacco cigarette smoking, which would ban vaping in all city parks, buildings, cars, and 20 feet from any city building. But tonight, Daphne's ordinance committee met to change that, thus recognizing that e-cigarettes are a much different device. So now the ordinance is only banning vaping inside city facilities and in park seating areas, like a ballpark. An e-cigarette is a non-tobacco device that delivers nicotine through a liquid that's heated into a vapor. Zach Carpenter manufactures the liquid that goes into the e-cigarette to be smoked. He says he's glad the city changed their minds.
And it's a way better choice than the previous alternatives that we had.
The committee is still deciding how far from a building a person can smoke an e-cigarette and how the city's handbook will have to be rewritten to go along with the ordinance. The big issue still left standing, however, is whether or not the city workers can vape in city cars, like a police officer vaping while on patrol for long periods of time. Those issues will be discussed with other city department heads. I spoke with some vaping enthusiasts on the Eastern Shore who told me they don't see an issue with vaping in public.
It's the flavoring that you have in on what you will smell, and it disappears within a couple of seconds. So
she says it doesn't leave the smoky stench like a regular cigarette would.
I mean, it makes your clothes smell better, it makes the person smell better, your car, your house, all that just smells totally better.
Now, the newly written ordinance will go before the Daphne City Council on August 4th, and then it will actually be voted on August 18th. So you still have time to present your opinions and ideas to the Daphne City Council if you want to see any changes in this ordinance. Now, if a person is caught, if this is passed and a person is caught vaping in a restricted area, they could face a $50 fine plus court charges. Reporting live in Daphne, I'm Katie Weiss for Fox 10 News.
Superintendent in